Hey everybody, welcome back. So as some of you may know, I got into resin printing a few months ago with the purchase of the Tech Shadow 5.5S resin printer. And you know what? While I like the outcome of my resin prints, I like what the machine produces, the actual process of it kind of sucks. And it kind of sucks because the resin itself is liquid, it's sticky, it's nasty, it stinks to high heaven, and you get it on yourself and supposedly you'll just spontaneously combust. It's not true, but nonetheless it is toxic. So we got all kinds of things to try and help us keep from making a mess. I mean, I got rubber gloves, I got washing containers, I got alcohol for cleaning up, I got a silicone mat to try and keep the drips and spills contained. And you want to know something? None of it's worked. I'm still making a mess with this stuff. There's not much I can do about the stink of it except open a window and spray air freshener around. And the toxicity of it, well, you know what? We can go to a water washable stuff that really isn't as toxic. We don't have to use the alcohol, and it should be easier to clean up. But one of the areas where I seem to make the biggest messes is when trying to drain the vat from the printer back into the resin container. I just seem to have a really rough time doing that without making a mess. I've printed a number of different resin stands. You can see one of them right here in the process of working now. Let's see if I can pick it up without it breaking on me again. Here it is here. And while I really like the design of this, the problem is it's plastic. And this vat stand is probably a good 2-pound chunk of aluminum. It is fairly heavy. And trying to hold it completely this high up on this hollow stalk of plastic really doesn't work out too well. As you can see, I've wired it up down here. Whoops, I'm making a mess again because it's still dripping. I've wired it up down here because it's cracked. I have a pair of mini vice grips back here because the whole back of the resin stand of the vat holder cracked on me, and now the knob won't thread in. It's a great design, but plastic just isn't up to the task. And I've seen some of the designs that use an aluminum extrusion for the upright, and that's going to help to some degree, but it's still mostly plastic. You put the vat in and most of the weight is up high. It's easy to tip over, which I have done on multiple occasions. And while it has helped me, got some of it on me, while it has helped me, it is still not, in my opinion, the answer, and it still makes me want to avoid resin printing. So I've been sitting around thinking, Chuck, what the heck can you make a vat stand out of that won't be quite as flimsy, won't tip over as easy, you won't have to worry about walking out of the room and hearing crash bang because of the weight of the vat broke the holder and it's now hit the bottle and it's all gone over. And yes, I've had that happen too. It sucks. So what can I use? I've thought about making something out of wood. I am not a woodworker. I could cobble something together, but you know, I'm not a big fan of working with wood. I could make something out of sheet metal. I no longer have access to the tools to do a really nice job of it. But I could make something out of sheet metal, but man, I've got to go down to the metal scrapyard. I got to buy the parts. It seems like an awful lot of work for something so simple. So I started thinking to myself, what thing already exists that you could use to make that out of? And I'm looking through tool catalogs, and all of a sudden I hit on something, and that's this. This is designed to be a drill press for somebody who doesn't want to go out and buy a real drill press. You put your hand drill in there, you've got a base, your part goes down here, you pull the handle down, it's spring loaded, and it's supposed to be a drill press. These things totally suck as a drill press. Don't ever buy one of these and use them as a drill press. They're awful. These are 20, 25 bucks. Wait for a sale, go down to Harbor Freight and buy a real benchtop drill press for 50, 60 bucks. They still suck, mind you, but they are way better than something like this. But might this make a decent vat stand? I think so. It's got a solid metal base, it's got a steel tube as an upright, and this whole top is again cast aluminum. That's probably cast aluminum down here. I don't need the handle, I don't need the spring. I'm thinking about maybe flipping this whole thing over because it just fits in the tube going up and down, losing the handle and the spring, flipping this over so that this part, and that comes out of it, this part is up here, and using and building and 3D printing, of course, a vat holder that the bottom sits in this and it drains through. Then I can 3D print something here that comes out and holds a funnel and a filter, and I should have room for even the taller of the bottles on it. So that's my plan. I'm going to butcher this thing up because it didn't cost that much, and honestly it's useless as anything else. And I think it might make a really good resin vat holder to drain the resin back into the bottle. So I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. Probably going to hurt myself a couple times along the way. We'll drip a little blood, we'll cuss a few times, but maybe, just maybe, we'll get something that'll work for us. Okay, so I took this thing apart, and this is what I wound up with. Just the straight pipe up and the metal base. Now, and you can see all the parts. Can you see all the parts? This is all the parts I took off it over here. So, just for reference, I'm going to set one of the tall 1 liter, that's a 1 liter bottle, right? 1,000 gram bottle, not 1 liter, 1,000 grams. Is 1,000 grams a liter? I think it is. So, there's that bottle for reference. Now my first thought of this was the main piece of it here, but you notice it has no way to hold it tight. My first thought was to flip this over upside down how it went on and put the vat holder here and have it drain down through the center. But again, there's no way to hold that on. So this piece came with it. I thought I could put that in there and that would set the height for me. I could also drill a hole and put a pin or a screw in it, but I'd like to be able to adjust that up and down for the different size bottles. Also, I have to mount the funnel someplace, and I have to have the funnel fairly high if I'm going to use these 1,000 gram bottles. So my next thought was how to mount the funnel. So this is the piece that had the slot that you could pinch in to hold it tight. So I thought, let's put it on under there like this. Let's put it on first and then put this on. But then I quickly noticed that, it won't go on, there it goes. I quickly noticed that while I could mount the funnel holder here, unless I want a cantilever funnel holder, which of course I could do, it's going to kind of put it low. So I can flip this over and get myself a little, I could grind that stub off, but you know what, I want to modify it as little as possible. So I could flip that over to get the that nub on the bottom, and that would get me, you know, an extra ½ inch of space, and I could pinch the funnel holder in between there with a bolt going down through these, because there's a hole that goes all the way through that, and then that would allow me to tighten that pinch bolt up, and that would keep it both from going up and down and from turning. But again, still for these 1,000 gram bottles, I'm still going to have to make a bit of a cantilever type of funnel holder. Now my next thought was to leave this off completely, leave that piece off completely, and just use this piece and simply drill a hole in here all the way through and come out with my funnel holder. But again, I want to modify it as little possible. So I think I'm going to go with my first thought is to use that, put it on upside down, and pinch my funnel holder in between these two pieces there. And then run a bolt between them, and that'll hold these two pieces locked, and that way the pinch bolt will prevent everything. So that's what I'm going to work with. First off, let's make the funnel holder, the vat holder first. And let's pop over to Fusion. I got something designed up. I'll show it to you. I'm not going to walk you completely through it, but I'll show it to you and we'll print it and we'll see how it works. Okay, so in Fusion 360, and I'm not going to walk you through every step of this because once again, like I did in the hood release thing, I was completely starting with only a basic idea what I was looking for. So there's a lot of the 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of thing going on in this. Or, hey, you know, I made that too small, so instead of going back and fixing it, let's just add extrusions to each side of it to make it the right, you know, I did a lot of that. So let's just take a quick look at what I did. So first, I made a ring of the correct size. I extruded it up, and I'm skipping the sketches because I'm not going to go into every sketch. I'm just going to show you the features. Then I put that stop ring on it. Then I added one side, and I realized that I added the side without enough. I added the wing here that the vat's going to set in, but I didn't leave enough room for the sides. So I added the sides. I extruded each side out to make that difference up. Then I put in the sides to hold it up. And then I realized I didn't like the way the top of that looked, so I chopped it off rather than going back and fixing it. Again, I do a lot of that when I'm just brainstorming stuff and I'm not really sure what I'm going to get or what I'm going to like. And then I mirrored it to the, where'd it go? I mirrored it to the other side. And from that point on, all I did was start going in and adding fillets to beef it up a little bit. So I added a fillet in here. I added a fillet around the sides. I added a fillet, hell, I don't know where that one was. Anyway, and then I added a fillet on the top to kind of take the sharp edges off of that top. And that's the extent of my part. So I printed it out. Let's go take a look. You guys have probably already seen some of the faults that are in it, but let's go take a look at it, and then I'll see what faults are in it too. Okay, as you guys were watching me design that, you probably noticed some of the flaws in it. I did not till I printed it and looked at it. Here is the final printed part. This is the red Polymaker Polyterra PLA. And one of the reasons I used it is because I knew I was going to need a lot of support, and it did require a bunch of support. And nicely enough, you can see where I started to break it away. At that point, the whole thing came loose and it just came off. It's really nice. I mean, if Polymaker Polyterra PLA doesn't do anything else for you, the support coming off that easy ought to be a big sales point for you. My coupon code of Chuck for 10% off is still good. I'll put a link below. I don't get anything out of it. They're not giving me any kind of kickbacks. They might, if you guys buy enough through that code, they might send me other filaments to test, but that's all I get out of it. So here's the part. Do you see the flaw in it? Do you see what's wrong with it? I didn't till I put it on and tried it. Let's stick it on. It's going to go like that because it's going to drain down through the center. Here is the vat. Let's set the vat on, and whoops, the vat won't go all the way in. Look what happens. The vat, can you see it there? The point of the vat hits right in here. So I need to make a V in here, but the problem with that is there's this metal ring. I would have to grind also a V into that metal ring. So I think instead what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into Fusion, because everything else about this seems absolutely fine. I'm going to go back into Fusion, and this ring that stops it from going down, I'm going to move it down about 10 millimeters. 10 millimeters, should that be enough? I'm going to grind the V in here, and I'm going to see how much I have to move this ring down. And of course this bottom down, it was already a little too long, but I'm going to make it a little longer anyway. And how much I have to grind into that to get the vat to sit all the way in it. But other than that, the vat fits perfect. I may make these side walls enough bigger so it comes out to the end of the aluminum. I don't think it needs it, but it might make me feel better. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, grind it. I'm going to get that measurement, and I'm going to make another part. Okay, so here is my modification on the part, and it's ugly, but all I really wanted to do is give me an idea of how much change I need to make. If we take the vat now and drop it in, the vat now sits all the way down in. The angles are, if not perfect, really, really good. They should just be 45-degree angles. And I measured this here, and I need to raise this stop ring, or actually lower it. I need to lower it about 8 millimeters. And I made this bottom here a little too long, so I may make that a little bit longer and I may not. But I need to lower that stop ring by 8 millimeters, and I need to put an 8 millimeter cut in there so the vat can sit all the way down. And while it really isn't necessary, at the same time I may raise these sidewalls a few millimeters as well. So let's go back into Fusion. Let's get that done.
Okay, so here's the part that I created that isn't right. And you can see the first thing I did, and sorry I did it off camera, is I changed the height of these sidewalls here from 5 to 10 millimeters. I don't know that I think it's necessary, but you know what? What the heck? Let's do it while we're in here. So I need to fix this cut in here, and I need to lower this ring down. So the simplest thing to lower that ring down, I don't really want to change the diameter of it up here because that's going to change how strong this is. So I just picked this bottom part of the ring. Won't let me put my pointer on it. There it is right there. And I just extruded that down the extra amount that I needed. So there's that. Now I need this ring. So what I did is I made myself an offset plane. And let's see if we can find it here. Not letting me see it for some reason. There it is. I made myself an offset plane out here near this edge. I drew my V shape on it, and you can't see that there. I'm not going to show you the sketch. I drew my V shape on it, and then I cut it through. Now, since I don't really want a V like that there, I went ahead and added a little bit of a fillet into it just to kind of round the bottom off because I like that better. And then I also decided that these corners here needed to be filleted like the ones up here. So I did that. Now, one thing I haven't done is I have not extruded the bottom of this the same amount that I have pulled that ring down. Now that ring stuck out considerably more out the bottom than it needed to, but I'm still going to, I kind of wanted that, but I'm still going to, I think, pull it down a little bit. Maybe let's do it half the amount. Let's do it 4. So I'm just going to click on that to highlight it. I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm going to tell it 4 millimeters. And okay, so that's our finished part. At least that's our finished version 2 part. Let's go ahead, let's print it out. This probably take about 4 hours to print. It's only 2 o'clock today on a Monday. So let's get this printed and let's see what it looks like.
Okay, so here is the next part, fresh off the printer and out of the support. You can see the little U-shape cut in it, and I also made it 1 millimeter bigger across the bottom because the old one was so loose that it wobbled around and the little clamp here wouldn't tighten it. So let's see what we get. That one ain't loose, that's for sure. Here's the vat. Ready? Yay! Look at that, huh? That ain't going anywhere. So there's that part. I have the part made up for the funnel holder. It's going to go down here. Let's get that printed next.
Okay, so let's take a look at the little funnel holder I designed and am going to print here shortly when the other part prints. And first thing I did was I just made the plate. Remember, this is going to sandwich in between the two parts of what used to be the drill press thing, and is just going to cantilever up a little bit and hold a funnel for me. So I made a plate coming up. I made a front piece for it. I put a hole in it because I'm gonna squeeze it with a bolt in between those two press pieces. You'll see when I print it and go to put it together. I put a hole in the front just in case, because this thing is going to kind of, I mean, it doesn't really have to hold up any weight, but I thought, you know, if worse comes to worse, I can drill a hole in the metal and put a screw in there to give it a little extra support. So then I put the part that's actually going to hold the funnel holder on, and then I just started putting in fillets because you guys know me, I love fillets. And then I got the brilliant idea that thinking, you know, maybe this could be just a little bit stronger. So I decided to put ribs in the front just to kind of give it a little bit of extra support as it hangs over. So I put a single rib in, I mirrored it to the other side, And then I filleted the snot out of all of that, and added some more fillets in. I think those were back here. And that's the part that is going to fit in between and hold the funnel underneath the vat. So I hope it works. This is obviously a version 1, and you guys know my version 1 stuff normally doesn't work, but let's go ahead and print it and give it a try.
Okay, so here is the part that I printed for to hold the funnel, kind of looking at it at an odd angle, and it's going to pinch in between here, and then there is a hole that goes all the way up through both pieces, and I have a piece of all thread left over from the flexible camera arm project. So let's see how well this fits. Keep in mind that this is a version 1 product here, and not my version 1 products aren't always functional, but usually gives me a good idea where I need to go. I don't know, that's pretty good. That fits in there really nicely. Let's see if I can get the funnel in. This is the funnel that came with that old plastic one I showed you. I made another one of my own simply because I want to put this on Thingiverse, and I don't want to have to say that it is a remix because this is all brand new. Look at that, that fits right in there. Let's put the all thread in, and let's see if I can get it down in that way. Oh, well, you know I can. And let's pinch it together so that piece stays put. I'm just going to tighten it with my fingers for now. And where's the wrench? Here's the wrench that lets the whole thing be adjusted up and down. Let me zoom out a little bit. There you go. This allows the whole thing to be adjusted up and down. I can go stick my funnel in. Stick the funnel in, then you take one of those big paint filters and you trim it way down, trim all the paper off the top until it sits in like that. And if you have a, where's my big bottle? Here's my big bottle. If you have a big bottle, I'm not going to pull that center thing out of it because I'm sure it's all, so you just lower it down till that fits in the bottle, you tighten it up. And if you have a smaller bottle, opening this stuff up is dangerous. Even just taking the cap off, it's dangerous. Just lower that down, and let's tighten it up a wee bit so it doesn't go anywhere. And you just plunk the vat in it. What I normally do is I normally drain as much of it in as I can before I get to this, and then when it's mostly drained out and just dripping, that's when I add that to there and just walk away for an hour or two and let it drip. But there you go. That is one heck of a resin drain vat holder. I think so anyway. Nice and solid. It's not going to tip over. Let's put the cap back on just to make sure I can't tip it over. It ain't going anywhere. So I'm very happy with that. I hope that's going to take a lot of the pain out of draining this thing for me and a lot of the mess, because I have made some unpleasant messes with this stuff, and it's the worst part of resin printing for me is handling the resin. I think that's pretty much true of everybody. Anyway, I'm going to put my creations on Thingiverse. I'll find a link to this thing. I was wrong. I didn't pay 20 bucks for it. I paid $26 for it. And I bought it from Walmart, so they're probably even less on the typical Chinese retailers. I will find a link to it on Amazon, I think, and I'll give you that. But if you don't want to buy it from Amazon, and it will be an affiliate link, if you buy it from the affiliate link, I'd really appreciate it. But if you don't want to, you can just get the picture of it and take it to any retailer you want, and you'll find them. They're everywhere. And I didn't modify it in any way except to disassemble it and leave some of the pieces out. So you can always turn it back into the worst drill press in town if you'd like to, which I don't know why you would. It makes a much better resin vat stand than a drill press. But anyway, I will put all my parts on Thingiverse. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope maybe it can help you guys out as much as I hope it helps me out. Please like and subscribe. Use my notifications and affiliate links, and I'll catch you guys the next time. Bye for now.